Someone who interviews thousands of us. And now today we'll be interviewing her, one of the best HRs, Rajita Singh. There are a lot of talent here in India and across the world. What do you feel if you can give some 2 3 tips separately for one, freshers who join fresh from the college, second, the mid managers, and third, the senior executives? Some 2 3 tips for the interviews.
For the generation getting in now or starting off as freshers, the first thing that they need to do is have that purpose goal very clearly etched on. Why are they entering the workplace and what do they want to derive out of it? That ability to let go and reinvent to do something is what the mid management needs to do. And the last, for people who are at the fag end of retirement, you are the jamvant, in many ways, who will show the mirror and also help people.
Would you like to spend some time on sharing maybe a template or a couple of points on how to solve these leadership conflicts?
Leadership conflict sitting in a boardroom, sitting in meetings rooms, in office will never get solved.
What's your view about mentorship? Do you have a mentor? Uh, has someone shaped your career, and you can term them as a mentor? And how to find a mentor?
You never find your guru finds you. Okay, you go about seeking. Similarly, mentors find you. I've had a lot of mentors who've shaped the way I am today, who've shaped the way I think, who've been candid enough and blunt enough to tell me, Rajita, this is what it is and this is what doesn't work.
Hello, welcome to Carrot and Steaks, sponsored by Zozo Day. I'm Kushal Agrawal, your host, and I'm an entrepreneur. I bring people who can help you impact your work life. Today we are in Hyderabad and we have someone very special, someone who interviews thousands of us. And now today we'll be interviewing her. We have one of the best HRs, Rajita Singh, who is the people leader at Kyndryl. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank
How are
you,
you doing?
Kushal. Thank you so much. Doing very well. Actually, nervous because you just started the statement saying you're going to interview me. So it's a little not so comfortable.
Is it? All right. So, so Rajita, tell all the audience something that while there are a lot of talent here in India and across the world, uh, what do you feel? Some 2 3, if you can give some 2 3 tips separately for one, freshers who join fresh from the college, second, the mid managers, and third, the senior executives. Some 2 3 tips for the interviews.
I think you've laid out the question very beautifully. Okay, it is like the phase of life when you grow up from 0 to 13. When in your teens, there is a particular way that people expect you to live. Then from 13 to 20, 30, you have a particular way. Then you have the mid, and then you have the vanaprasth. So the stages of life, you've laid down the career stages in that sense. If you ask me, I don't have two, three, but I have one for each.
Sure.
Okay, which I think possibly makes the difference for the generation getting in now or starting off as freshers. The first thing that they need to do is have that purpose goal very clearly etched on. Why are they entering the workforce, and what do they want to derive out of it? That is the first point that's important for them. For mid management leaders, it's I'll give you an analogy for it. It's like when you get married and you were always the bahu of the house, but then now your child has got married and his wife has come in, or her spouse has come in. You have to give up a few things that you were running with. So that ability to let go and reinvent to do something is what the mid management needs to do. So become a lot more hands on and become a lot more focused on what they want to do. And the last, for people who are at the fag end of retirement, I would say the world is not going anywhere and is not ending because life expectancy has moved up. Companies and governments are changing their retirement age. There are certain companies who have no retirement age. So you are the jamvant, in many ways, who will show the mirror and also help people. So there's enough and more. Just have that bit of confidence, is what I would say. Nothing other than that. Those are my three things for the three parts that you
Super,
mentioned.
very well said. I don't manage the company of your size, but I have about 500 employees, and I know of an instance. We hired an intern from ID, 7 8 years back, and now he's one of our CTOs
Super.
and doing superbly well. We try to kind of see that zeal and that excitement in that person, and he's doing fabulous
Lovely.
company. So
Lovely.
yeah, very well said, and great examples, Rajita. Moving on, Rajita, you have seen a lot of spin-offs in the companies, and it's quite natural. We have hundreds of spin-offs we see around the world. Most of them not in a good note. But you have been a spin-off champion. I mean, you have solved those spin-offs in so beautifully that there are no negative news, uh, very smooth, and you have done it very well. So there might be many managers, HR managers, as well as the business owners who would be encountering this situation, right? So what are those 2 3 tips or steps you would advise to them, which will kind of help them in this journey of kind of doing a smooth transition in the spin-offs?
Okay, so let me start off by saying life is not smooth. It appears smooth on the surface, but there's a lot that goes on, beneath that you can't see. But to your point, um, on a lighter note, my friends call me the spin-off queen and merger and acquisition queen.
Superb.
Okay, because
You
they
are.
say at
You are.
times, at times, everything is hostile, right? When you get into it, and then there is a sense of loss of identity and things like that. So, for me, HR is that quiet engine during the spin-offs that is observing everything from 4 quadrants.
Okay.
Okay, one is what's happening in the industry. When I'm being spun off from my parent, obviously I'm not making the revenues, obviously I'm in losses, and obviously the parent doesn't want to hold me longer, and which is why I'm saying, go do whatever you want on your own.
That's right.
You're like that spoiled child, go do figure. So I would look at what's happening in the industry, I would look at what my customers are wanting, I would look at my employee base, and then I would look at what's really happening in delivery and technology. So
Sure.
those are the 4 quadrants, that I would look at. Now, and if you look at it, then let's peel it a little more. What is the, what do I want to call it? The mental being and the mindset of our customers and the employees during the time of the spin-off. So if you crack this code, everything else falls in place. And obviously, a spin off, it'll show that, we spun off and we announced and all that stuff. But it takes a lot of effort, a lot of transformation, and a lot of, what do I want to call it? Focus on what you want to do. So while speed is important in spin-offs, clarity is equally important of purpose. So for me, 3 things that I would give from a massive psychological shift that happens in the employee base and the customer base. One is they want to understand stability during a spin-off. They want to understand certainty, so communicate as much as possible, over communicate. And the third is speed. If I have spun off from a large company, largely spin-offs are from large companies into smaller companies, right? So how do you engage with people at that? And that's what we're trying to do, because essentially you're trying to create a new identity. You're trying to say, I'm here, I know how it works, and I will take you along. So immediately when you have that sense of giving back to community, working along with the governments, working along with the NGOs, your people get a sense of purpose ki, haan, bhai, my company is here, my company has a heart, they are compassionate, and that's what works. So that's what I have been doing. Nothing, no rocket
Superb.
science, very, very simple stuff.
Superb. So in my startup journey in last 13 years, I have also seen about 14 to 15 acquisition, or not of that size, of course, very small size kind of things. And yes, I've seen that it's not that easy to kind of manage things, and HR plays a very crucial role at that point in time. I've also encountered a couple of HRs who come with that very definitive mindset. That okay, uh, when there is a merger or an acquisition, it has to go this way,
Yeah.
and those rule books sometimes doesn't work,
Don't work.
right? So you have to assess the situation, and then you have to take calls, and you have to strategize that way. Very well said.
Absolutely right.
I'm grateful that you brought up that thing. A follow-up question to this would be that when these spin-offs or acquisitions typically happen, there might be a lot of conflicts in the leadership, right? And this is a typical problem I have kind of seen HRs spend time on solving it. Would you like to spend some time on sharing maybe a template or a couple of points on how to solve these leadership conflicts?
I'll start off with basics. Okay. Leadership conflict sitting in a boardroom, sitting in meetings rooms, in office will never get solved. Okay. I don't know if you know of them, but there's this training institute in Bangalore, was started in the year 1999, way before I joined my career. I mean, joined my professional journey. And it's called Pegasus. Okay. They do outbound learning program. And what they do, they have versions and variants of it. So whenever there is a senior management thing and whenever there is a spin-off that is happening, the first thing I would say is take people into a setup where they're not inhibited. Okay, where they are not intimidated that this is an official setup. They can talk freely. And they use exercises to see personalities of each leader. Then you lay down the purpose of the organization. Obviously, you have a sutradhar in which you have the HR person and the leader who's driving it. And then everybody contributes and does a lot of self reflection. Because leadership, when different leaders are in different directions, the organization are not going to go anywhere. But if all of them come together, then it's a lot more easier. So at times like this, we're able to create that environment at lightning speed. Okay, and if you're not able to create that environment, you at least know that these are the leaders who are going to be the bottlenecks. It's either or. There is a lot of clarity that comes out in it. So that is one part of the conflict. The second part I would say is that, and this is also in a way aligning to the goal. I mean, you call me over here, Kushal, to give you, share my personal life. But imagine if I came over here and I started talking about how do you cook in the kitchen. It's irrelevant. Our
Right.
goal is not aligned. So, aligning the goal is what's important, having a shared purpose. The second is anchoring. And when in a decision making, it's important that you will say that these are the two anchors who will have the veto. And everybody needs to agree. There's nothing called an exception. The minute you do an exception, everything is an exception.
Right.
So I think having that respect on who's going to be anchoring is important. The third part is act fast. It is never going to be hunky dory. And when you're acting fast, be private and factual. It's never personal. Everybody is a nice human being. The setup and the context makes the difference. So try, if you're not able to be respectful in public, do it in private. Be factual and close it and move on. That's my 3A analogy for handling conflict.
That's super. Very, very well said. And Rajita, while I was reading about you, I've seen that, in your entire life of about 25 years, you don't look like, but, you've just worked for three companies. And I would be curious to know, have you not made any mistakes in your life, in your career, that you have stuck to these three companies? Would love to kind of hear your views on the mistakes of your life and what lessons you have had.
Sure. So let me start off with basics. I was never supposed to enter the corporate world. I come from a business family. Extremely pampered, born with a silver or golden spoon, whatever you want to call it. Imagine being born like that, working in a company, reporting to somebody, listening to them, understanding their shared vision, and then moving forward. So I think career happened to me because of my friends.
Okay.
Okay, so my friends joined. I would like to call out my friend Satminder. She made my resume. I didn't even make my resume. She made my resume. She said, Raju, come join us. It's fun. You know why? Why did I join? Because of free cokes and good food. Because at that time, Sodexo passes was the only thing that were there. So let's go. We'll have meals and we'll do this. And काम तो chhodi de. Enjoy kar bas. Let's do it together. We've been doing it for the last 2 years. You finish your masters and you come. Okay, so I joined them. So that was one. Now what is my learn? So coming back to the companies, I've worked with only two companies technically.
Okay.
Okay, Broadridge was a
Your
spin-off of
LinkedIn,
ADP.
your LinkedIn says it's three.
It says three because it doesn't say that Broadridge was the brokerage of ADP, the brokerage
Okay.
division,
Oh,
and the same
interesting.
leadership team moved along with ADP. So for me, nothing changed other than, the stability, certainty part that I spoke to you about and the shared vision that we wanted to, incorporate as a new entity. People are the same. I've grown up with all of them. So it was like 22 years plus with one company and now 3 years with Kindle. I never thought I will be able to survive outside of Broadridge and ADP because that was my first job. And it was fun. For me, challenge is important. The minute you get challenged every 2-3 years, it makes sense. Now, what's my learning journey? I would call out three things, right? I think my first mistake was so I'm into racing. I was into racing, let me say that, because I haven't had any new races in the recent past. So I mistook speed for clarity. I thought everything needs to happen now. Okay, so in fact, you will also see when I was coordinating with you, I told her, I said, let's finish it now. Speed is important. Speed is in me, but understanding that clarity is what brings speed is what's important. So if you want to be a leader, you need to be very clear. That was my first part of the learning journey very early on. The second was having difficult conversations. It's never easy to have a difficult conversation. I can share a personal anecdote. I was a new manager. I think 2 years of experience, I was given a team of two people to report to me. And there was a situation wherein, she'd prepared offer letters. She'd gone to the director then for signatures. And this director is obviously very, very polished, very to the T. He saw that she missed a comma and a dot. Okay. And for whatever reasons, he was in an upset mood. He threw the papers on her face. She came out crying. And she comes and tells me, I'm done, I'm resigning. She's new, I'm new. How do I handle that? I didn't know how to have a difficult conversation. First, I spoke to her. I said, take it easy, go back, relax, because that's what I would have done. I said, go home now. Okay. The second is, it took me courage. It took me about 24 hours, but I went back and had that straight conversation with the leader that this is not how you treat people. And even if you think that it's okay, it's not okay to treat women like that. I have no qualms in saying that there are certain ways that people need to live with. So I think the second part was difficult conversations. Do them immediately. Don't delay. Okay, it's never easy. And the third is, I always think, when great places to work happens and the others happen, I think it's my job. It's the HR's job. The fact is, it's not HR job. It's everybody's job. Everybody's a leader. Everybody's a brand ambassador. That awakening happens slowly with time. And those are my three top learning journey mistakes, if you will, from my side that I like to call out.
Superb, superb, great. Rachita, you being managing, about what 30,000 people, 40,000 people,
30,000 in India, globally 50,000
or
plus.
50,000 people. So managing these many number of people would require, a group of tech stack or various types of technology. Apart from ChatGPT in AI space, do you or your team use some other types of AI in your work life, and maybe you would like to recommend a couple of them to your community?
So I will tell you what. I'm very clear. Technology is an enabler. Technology is not going to drive things for me. Okay. So how have we done things? For ourselves during the spin-offs, both of them, I would say, is we use technology to simplify things. Have everything at one place. Don't have multiple applications and systems trying to track different things. So that one source of truth always remains, whether it's within your country or globally. That's point number one. Point number two is when you are doing spin offs and when you are actually trying to cope up with what's happening in the industry, you need to map skills, you need to have expertise, and you need to have people who understand what their skill set is and where they are going. So their learning journeys, their role readiness has to be done. So I want to use a lot more technology on that. Today we're using to an extent, but I wish that it's a lot more predictive. It tells me that if something's coming up in 1 year, given these kind of career profiles, this is what we want to do. So at Kindle, we've started doing something called career profile updation. Okay, we use Workday. And we're running a campaign wherein people have their talent statements, their purpose statements, statement of purpose, whatever you want to call it. And they also have their skills with certification. It's not a laundry list. It has to be exactly what your core skill is. Okay. And then I will be able to propose if I'm going and bidding somewhere, or I'm participating in a new RFP. I will already know what kind of people I have in house. So that is something on the technology part wherein, I want the mapping of skills to be done a lot more automated. Coaching. Okay, coaching, they say that India is going to be the next is going to be the next coaching capital of the world.
We like to talk.
Yeah. I think we like to talk and we like to listen.
Yeah.
Digital coaching, I think, will help in the international context a lot more. And with more and more people becoming, what do I want to call it? Siloed and expert, you want to have a lot more, to do the groundwork and then move forward. Just the way, now people are using robots to do the sweeping at home because domestic help is not available. Coaches are going to become like that. So use digital coaching. Okay. Then the third is deployment of agents. You can make agents very nicely and very easily. Even I am learning how to make one. So I'm not dependent on someone. Integrate it with Copilot and let people use it if it's making sense, right? The last is, doing a lot of bots on learning. Obviously, it's a very common thing. It was the first thing, I think last to last week I met somebody who said that we were doing learning bots since 20 years. And I was like, wow, is that true? But I was like, okay, if he's talking so much conviction, he would be doing right. And the last is data observability. How do you observe data? What are the different things that you can do? So this is at a high level, what I would do with AI and do it. But AI will not call the shots. I'm not going to use judgment based on that. It just has to enable me do these things and then I'll take a call.
Superb, superb, superb. Just to talk about our sponsors, Zozo Day. Zozo Day has a suite of products around rewards, incentives, and loyalty programs. It helps businesses to automate programs like employee recognition, employee benefits, sales and channel incentives, customer loyalty, gig workforce incentives, etc. So, whatever your department is, you may have some or other kind of rewards, incentives, and loyalty program. Zozo Day is one answer to all of them. So, do check out. Moving on, Rajita, what are some of the unsolved HR pain points you have today, or a message to tech entrepreneurs who can probably bring in solutions, to you?
I would just say one thing, it's good to be inspired, but it's also good to be authentic.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, I love clothes, so I'll give you an example. Okay, when you look at designers like Sabyasachi, Manish Malhotra, whoever, right, or the new gen that's come up, uh, they have a particular style. Okay, they invent that market and then people go buy over there, or Anamika Khanna, right? And then there are inspired designers who copy the same design but give it for cheaper.
Sure.
Okay. So, and technology obviously is something like that, with open source coming in, GitHub, everybody wanting to collaborate very easily. It becomes a lot more easy. I would say pick up real time issues and solve them. There's enough and more for everybody to be on the planet.
Maybe you can
Okay.
share one or two.
So I'll tell you. One is creating the marketplace.
Okay.
Okay. Hiring is one of the biggest, I would say, advantage that India has because of age, because of education, and because of the English speaking capability. You look at governments like UK, you look at governments like Germany, you look at governments like Japan, you look at Italy. Everybody has opened up and they're asking for people to come and work because of their aging workforce, right? So, how can we use technology for the marketplace? Solve for that. Today we're still sitting and doing, I'll help you with training of freshers, I'll give you trained freshers, I'll help you with doing your apprenticeship with the government, I will help you and come and tell you these are the top colleges, outsource your campus to me. There are RPOs doing that. Nobody comes and tells me in detail, to the level of detail that I want, what skill set is available, where, how much, how, what does it take. That level of detailing is important. If I take just hiring as an example, okay, there are several parts in HR, but I'm just giving you hiring because I spoke of marketplace. The second that I would say is OD and OC, that's organization design and organization culture, is not an easy topic to deal with. Using AI for that will be brilliant.
Okay.
So I would suggest if people go dig out researches, I mean, look at Adam Grant. He came up with the most wackiest video, I think, last week or the week before that. And I'm forgetting what this, but it'll come to me and I'll tell you. And he's just, what people's hypothesis were, it's totally changed. So, how do you do that? Then, the third, I would say, is simplify the manager workload. People in today's setup still think sending emails is work.
Very true.
Automate it.
Very true.
Okay, tell people how they can do it. There are some people who use, calendars, I mean, bots or agents sitting on, what do I want to say, Google or Microsoft, and then, they run the whole thing. But try to figure what is work. Start with the definition of work and then move forward. So, those are my top three to entrepreneurs.
Super, super. So, Rajita, moving ahead, what do you think about mentorship? I see that a lot of people managers are need mentorship, uh, maybe, and they are not able to find one. Uh, so, what's your view about mentorship? Do you have a mentor? Uh, has someone shaped your career, and you can term them as a mentor? And how to find a mentor?
Um, it's a very spiritual analogy that I want to give you. Okay, you never find your guru finds you. Okay, you go about seeking. Similarly, mentors find you. I've had a lot of mentors who've shaped the way I am today, who've shaped the way I think, who've been candid enough and blunt enough to tell me, Rajita, this is what it is and this is what doesn't work. And who also, I mean, I've had a lot of fights with my mentors. I've not spoken to them for days, but I've never exceeded a week of being upset with them. So, there's a lot of credit that I would give to my mentors. And mentors find you. You don't go looking around. The minute you are looking around for a mentor, that chemistry may or may not happen. Okay, so that is very important. I think what my mentors did for me is, when I get in, no, I really get into the matter. They told me, sit back, see the balcony view before you get into action. I love action. If you ask me to just sit down, not do anything, I will be okay if I'm meditating. But if I'm not meditating, then I'm not okay. So they gave me that because they told me, and this is a very common phrase, you can't be fighting every battle. Pick your battles. Okay, so take a balcony view, look at the battlefield and figure out what you want and what you don't. Life is not a battlefield, but there are situations where you want to prioritize. Okay, the second is be calm in your voice. Many a times you will see when leaders get angry, it shows on their faces. Their volumes go high. I have learned how to modulate my voice and still communicate when I am angry. I will not say that I don't get angry, but that. And then it's not about, waiting. It is about taking the right action at the right time. That's what my mentors have taught me. So they've said it's important to be clear in your head. It's important to not get off in extreme swing in your emotions. Let not your emotions, outweigh what you're doing. And second is just if it's getting extremely difficult to resolve, shut it out, walk out into a setup which is not official, then talk. And then things get sorted. So those are my top three things that I still take with me.
Super, very well said. Uh, so whenever you want to kind of you are in that situation, sit back, look at things from distance,
Yep.
and then you will see the real problems and real non-problems.
Correct.
So very well said, Rajita.
And I could be the problem at times in it, right? So I'm able to see that
sometimes
also.
you are the problem.
Yeah.
I remember one conversation with my mentor. He was I was stressed out a lot, and I thought that I don't know how to kind of release my stress. Entrepreneurship is a stressful
Absolutely,
job.
it is.
And once he sat with me with a big drawing sheet, tried probing me certain questions. He kind of built the entire framework, and by the end, you won't believe what was the solution to my stress.
Which was?
It was installing an air condition in my flat.
Wow.
So sometimes the problems and the solutions are very simple,
Right.
and yes, that's what the mentor do, and I'm really thankful to my mentors. I would like to name his. I would like to name him as well. He's Ashish Sapra. He now is the CEO of TVS Credit. And yes, whenever I have a conversation, I get a solution which I might never have heard of
Very
or
nice.
never have thought of.
Very nice.
So it's great, great. So Rajita, one last question. There are a lot of aspiring people leaders now in India. In an estimate, while I was checking the estimate, there are more than 10,000 HR leaders, HR managers who will turn people leaders in next, 3 to 4 years. So what are those 2, 3 tips you would like to give to them to become successful in their career?
Okay. I think the first thing what I would say is stability is not absence of change, but it is the presence of clarity. So keep that as your number one thing. Second is looking at role models. And if you aspire to be like those role models, do not take shortcuts. Okay? Speed up with clarity how you want to get there. But there's nothing called a shortcut in this. Okay? The third and most important for me would be creating the psychological safety for self and people around you. How can you do that? Be extremely transparent in feedback, create for mechanisms around that. Invest in leadership coaching. Okay. Every leader, there is nobody who knows everything. And the universe also exists within us. But we need to experience and become aware of it. So, as HR, it's a very unique position to enable that for people. So do that. And most important is conflict resolution. I mean, my nani used to say, kitchen mein bartan hai to khankenge. So people are there, you will have conflict, you will have that problem. So try to figure out what's important on that and then take it forward. So I would say those are my top four, for budding HR aspirants.
Superb, superb. It was amazing talking to Rajita. You had shared so beautiful insights. I think it will help HR leaders, entrepreneurs, as well as the business owners to solve certain problems which they might face. Uh, I would request you all to like, subscribe to our channel, Carrots and Steaks, and also share your comments on how you like the video and whom you would like us to invite next. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajita,
Thank you.
for coming here.
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me. Thank you so much.